In this video, we will install physical components of Azure DevOps Server we discussed in previous sections. We'll install SQL Server 2017 and Azure DevOps 2019. There are many ways you can install Azure DevOps Server, depending on your integration and scalability needs. For example, if you want to integrate with other family products from Microsoft, you will need a couple of more installations. Or if you need to serve more users, you will need to scale out and add more servers. For beginners in mind and for the sake of simplicity, we will keep it to bare minimum. This basic setup will be more than enough for more than 100 users to serve. And we can always change our topology later to meet our growing needs. There are 3 steps we have to take to set up Azure DevOps Server. First, Azure DevOps Server installer first prepare the server reviewing system requirements. If everything is good, then it kicks off the installation, the second step. Azure DevOps Server installer extracts the setup files on your server and runs an installer. The third step is configuration. And FYI, this can be done anytime later. You don't have to do all in one go. In this last configuration step, you configure the install features. Basically, you launch a configuration wizard. If you have closed it, you can relaunch it by clicking Azure DevOps Admin Console from the Start menu. This wizard runs work and do some checks to make sure that your system meets the requirements and your selected configurations are likely to work. If there are any issues on one or more, warnings or error messages will be displayed that you will need to be resolved. Otherwise, it finishes setting up Azure DevOps Server. Azure DevOps Server 2019 can be installed on Windows 2012 or Windows 10 or above, but I'll be using Windows 2019 for the demo. Before we install Azure DevOps Server, I recommend installing a developer or standard version of SQL Server yourself rather than using the default SQL Express that comes with the Azure DevOps Server installation. SQL Server standard license is included when you purchase Azure DevOps Server, so I don't see any reason why you shouldn't use it. I will be installing SQL Server 2017, but SQL Server 2016 Service Pack 1 can also be used for Azure DevOps Server 2019 in case you're already running it in your organization and want to reduce that additional cost. I recommend always install latest supported version of SQL Server because the support for older server version is dropped each year with every major release of Azure DevOps Server. All right, first thing first, log into server as an admin. I'll be using virtual machine on Azure, but that can be anywhere, including your on-prem environment. Click Next. Tick the box to accept the license terms. Click Next. Right. So we failed the installation because it requires a restart. So you might have some sort of issues with the installation because it's do some prerequisite checklist. It's run some checklist, and if any one of that fails, you need to fix that issue. So in our case, we need to restart the server. Let's restart the server. So I'll cancel it, close that, close this. And I think it required restart because remember, we executed the updates and it's saying restart now. So I'll just tick that box. Oh, sorry, click the button. And I'll come back when it's restarted and up and running. All right, I'm back. So let's go through all the steps we did so far. And double click that setup exe. It will launch installation. So you click installation link, new SQL Server, or standalone installation or add new features. It will launch the installation wizard. Again, private key is your option. For me, evaluation is fine. Click next, accept license terms. And again, it's running a bunch of tests and everything good. You can tick the box for checking further updates for SQL Server. And it's now downloading the set of files, running all the checks, everything good. Window firewall, you can ignore that because you can allow SQL Server port by adding outbound rule in Windows later if you need to. If you need to access SQL Server from outside this machine, which we don't, because our Azure DevOps server will be on the same server. So yeah, this is a warning telling you firewall might block access, remote access to this database, which is fine for us. Next, on feature selection page, check the box for, of course, the database engine service. We need that service for our database. And full text and semantic extraction search, if you can see this. And these all features are important, so make sure you note it and do it exactly what I'm doing. And the third option you might need to consider if you're planning to run Azure DevOps Server, SQL Server separate machine, outside this machine in your network, then check the box for client tooling, and it should be, yeah, client tool connectivity. Yeah, that's the one. And if you need to manage the database using Management Studio, you know what to do. You can install Management Studio. Management Studio won't be in this list. It used to be in older versions, but it's removed. Now it's a separate install. Just google.com, search for SQL Server Management Studio, and download that Management Studio. If you need to access database for whatever reason, for administrative reasons, then yeah, you'll need that as well. Click next. Of course, by the way, you can change these directories if you want to use any other drive for installation. That should be fine if you want to use any other drive to save some space on your system drive. Click next. You can give name instance. You just choose the default instance. It's fine. Click next. And next, hopefully the startup services. Yeah. So you need to set startup type to automatic for each service except the full text, which is disabled. So I will select startup automatic for SQL Server agent. And browser service disabled. You make sure it's automatic. So everything is automatic except full text, which I can't change. And it's up to you. You want to grant this thing. So everything automatic that you can. Click next. On database configuration page, you need to click this add current user, right? Basically, you should be administrator on your new SQL Server instance. So you need to click this button, add current user button, if you want to add currently logged in user as an admin. Or if you want to add someone else, you can click add button to search users in your domain. Or if you want to add someone else as an admin, you can add more admin users later as well. Okay, so you have also options to change these database directory, right? And the TimeDB file locations. And I'm not going through, this is out of scope, the more administrative features, but for us it's fine. Click next. and we are ready to install everything. It's just giving us a summary. That's what we selected, and we are happy with that. Click install. So it's gonna take a while, right? So you need to wait for that installation to finish. All right. So you will see the final complete window, and hopefully everything is successful, as you can see. All right. Yeah, that's done. Install successful. So just close this dialog by clicking this close button. And we're done with SQL Server. Now that SQL Server 2017 installed, we can install Azure DevOps Server 2019. So let me close that. Go to downloads. And just like SQL Server, oh, that is not an ISO image. So I downloaded the .exe file. In this case, it's .exe file. So just right click, run as admin, right? Or you can download the ISO file. So it's up to you which one you want to choose. So let me close this one. Let me show you ISO file so you're good with that as well. I recommend ISO files because sometimes you don't have internet access on the on your environment, right? For security reasons, and it is very common practice not to have internet access on your production servers. In that case, you will need ISO image. So let's download the ISO image. So I will go to the browser. I'll go to my MSTN website. So as we turn off the IE enhanced security, so we should be able to download, because you need to make sure an IE enhanced security is turned off if you want to download from the server. And as I said, there is no internet access on the server, but in that case, I'm downloading from the server. It's up to you what scenario you are in. You know better. You need to somehow move your ISO file on the server, and you know how to do that, right? There are multiple ways to do that. So anyway, Azure DevOps Server should be listed here, 2019. And when you go here, you need to not to download the .exe. You need to select the DVD and download the latest version of Azure DevOps Server. So just click save. So it's good to download all of the things you need, like database and Azure DevOps Server setup, from the MSTN portal itself. And right click, unblock the file in case something is blocked during installation. So same thing, right click, mount, double click the exe file. Now ISO image got everything in it. You don't need to download from internet. So even you don't have internet access, you should be good to install Azure DevOps Server. Let me close this browser. So now it's installing Azure DevOps Server. All right, so installation has finished, and this took me around 7 minutes, but it depends on your server performance. This was the first step. Second step, configuration. In addition to install Azure DevOps Server, you have two more options: configure Azure DevOps Proxy Server or configure search, which is a code search. And it means you can install a proxy server or a code search in any other server or machine you want to. We will be just installing Azure DevOps Server to keep it simple, and let's focus on configuring Azure DevOps Server from the start widget. All right, so click next. The start widget. And you can see it's a yes, I want to participate in Visual Studio Experience. Okay, it's up to you. If you are okay with that, you can click next. And in the new deployment tab, you will see this is a new IS server deployment. I have existing database to use a database server deployment. So it's up to you. If you want to upgrade the server, you can use that. But if it's a brand new installation, you can just select this first option. Next, you need to select is the basic installation, advanced, or Azure. We will go advanced, and that's the recommended option in most scenario. Basic is, I don't know, if you want to install it very quickly for some reason, it's not production ready. So advanced is the most commonly used option you select. So you just select this advanced option and click next. Choose your language. If you speak English, next. So you select and use an existing instance of SQL Server, and you can enter your database information, which is the server name. In our case, it can be domain IP, server name, or it can be a domain name. So next, you just test your server instance connection with the machine name, and if it should be green, click next. Next, in this service account page or tab, you have to select the account that will be that's this server will be running under as a Windows service. You can select system account, but I won't recommend this system account, local service account, because you should have dedicated domain or local account. Why? Because it's really help you to, or it's just, I would say, easy to manage your security of your deployments. Also, like automated testing or debugging you do, you will do later. It will help you because it logs all the information, like account information. Service system account is used by many other services, but you can have dedicated account for the Azure DevOps server. You can trace and issues very easily, right? And I will be using local account, but if you have domain account, you should use domain account. So you just need to select a username and password. So my local name is my name, which is Hassan, and you just need to click the test and it should be fine. And if it's green, you're good to go. Next, you need to click next. Now we need to configure the application tier for IIS. Okay, and that's what I discussed, the application tier in our earlier section. That you have some options here about configuring SSL, but for the sake of simplicity, we will skip SSL for now. The default option should be custom, and we can leave it as is. So leave the enable SSH service box ticked, because this is a good service we can use later in, for example, in Git, and other authentication requirements we will have for other services. For file cache allocation, you may need to select again to a different drive, like a system drive. It's not a good idea because these files can grow very quickly and eat a lot of disk space, right? So click next. All right. Next is search settings. Core search is optional and can be installed on any other server to offload some work from the main server. If you want to install it on another server, then install it on other server first and then come back here to specify the URL. So you can go here and specify the URL here. Or you can configure it later in domain console by just skipping it and unchecking the box to install and configure search service, right? So you just uncheck this box and install just the Azure DevOps server, and you can configure it later as well. I will cover this for the same C drive we can use, and we can just enter username, password here. And this is not the system local account or domain account. This is a account for core search that will be created for you. So I will give my name. Oh, sorry, it should be different name, like core search. And all right, so we're good to go. Next. Next is reporting, and it's a lot of overhead, little value at beginning. When you have a lot of data, you want to, it makes sense to make use of reports, custom reports, or even you can install SharePoint or Power BI integration. But it's a lot of overhead to maintain. If you don't have data, I'll skip it for this, because we are good to go without reporting. We will still have reports in our dashboard in Azure DevOps that I'll show. But this is if you need very custom advanced reporting portal, you can install that. So I'll skip it for now. So just click next. Next is project collection. Tick the box to create the project collection, and default name could be will be default collection. You can change it to your department, your team, your projects, however you want to, whatever convention you want to give to your collections. You will need at least one collection to create a project. If you remember from a previous video we discussed, you can create more collections from the admin console later after the installation and configuration. Next, you will review to make sure everything is in order, and you will see probably a warning after this verification is done, and you can see a warning about license, because we are installing core search, which require Java and Azure Zulu terms to need to be accepted. So I'll accept it and configure. Now we saw, all the reviews. We can review all the configuration we selected, and we just click the configure button, and it's now configuring our selections and our configuring our Azure DevOps server. Hooray! We installed Azure DevOps server, so everything looked good. Complete. It took around 15 minutes for me, but we used core search feature as well, which is quite a heavy feature, and it really depends on server performance. So let's click next, and we will be presented all the logs and the link to access our DevOps server. And I just click the link. Hopefully it will lead me to our portal. First time it takes a little bit of time because it's the first request, and it presents me my portal. But hey, we don't have a project, right? So if you see in my previous video how we created a project for Azure DevOps service in the cloud, it's the same process. So hello demo project maybe. All right. Any description you want to give or don't want to give, up to you. You want to choose Git or TFVC, or you want to change your process, Agile, CMI, Scrum. Okay, so I like Scrum. Most people do Scrum. So let's create the project. And our demo project is ready to be used.